What's up, everybody? Brendan coming straight at you from Spartan Fitness. This is a popular video. A bunch of people requested that I do a body type video, and since it's just a short thing, I figured I'd knock it out today. So here we go. A lot of people have questions about body types, how they should eat for their body type, how they should train for their body type, what it means to have a specific body type. So hopefully we'll be able to get those questions answered for you here today. There's 3 distinct body types that you need to be aware of. That doesn't mean that you can't be a combination of 2. You can obviously be a combination of 2, but you're probably going to be more into one of these body types than any of the other body types. When I say body types, what I mean is muscular structure and skeletal structure. This talk has nothing to do with the disposition of body fat or where your body stores body fat. Any one of these people can store body fat in different areas. Meaning some men can have big breasts when they're extremely overweight, and some men will just have big stomachs when they're extremely overweight. Some women will have big thighs and hips. Some women, again, will have big bellies. So everybody stores fat differently, and this has nothing to do with that. This is if you were at 0% body fat. Obviously, that's not obtainable, but it would be easier to see yourself as a skeletal muscular structure if you were at 0% body fat. So I think you know what I mean. The first body type we're going to talk about is a mesomorph. And if you were to picture the mesomorph's torso from the shoulders leading down to the hips, it would look something like that. Obviously, that's a dramatic depiction. No one's going to look just like a triangle, but I think you can see where I'm coming from here when I talk about that. The reason they have such broad shoulders that tapers down to a narrow waist is because at the developmental stage of life, they had developed more androgen receptors in the upper body. This allowed their body to convert protein into muscle a lot easier than some other body types. This also means that during the developmental stages of life, they probably had a higher testosterone output. Now, none of these body types are gender specific, meaning that any one of these can be either sex. There are mesomorph females and there are mesomorph males, so this isn't gender specific. Mesomorphs' strength are upper body. From birth, they're going to have a very strong upper body. That includes shoulders, arms, back. Anything that has to do with upper body, they're naturally going to be good at. A mesomorph has little or can have little to no training and still have a better developed upper body than, let's say, another body type that's been training for 10 years, just naturally. So they're naturally going to have a very muscular upper body. They're also going to have a slow metabolism, and it's important to mention that the more muscle you have, the slower of a metabolism you probably have if you're natural. What I mean by that is the faster your metabolism is, the faster it's going to go through chemical substrates, and then it's going to go through bodily tissue, body fat, muscle, stuff like that. So if you have a fast metabolism, you probably don't have a lot of fat, but you don't have a lot of muscle either. So mesomorphs have a slow metabolism. It's not the slowest of the 2, it's the slowest of the 3. It's the second slowest of the 3. The next body type is an ectomorph. And if we were again to draw the frame of an ectomorph, it would look kind of like a rectangle, just like that. So the width of their shoulders and the width of their waist are pretty much even. Ectomorphs have the fastest metabolism out of any body type here. So it's number 1 on the chart. Now, typically, an ectomorph is not going to be more than 50 pounds overweight. Most ectomorphs don't gain weight at all, ever. They can typically eat what they want and maintain a pretty small muscle size on their frame. Now, this to me is a curse because if you're focused on weight and you're not focused on health, you're just going to continue to eat what you want since you don't gain weight, and the diseases are still going to come as if you were overweight. Just because you have a fast metabolism doesn't mean that you can just eat junk all the time just because you're not overweight. It's still going to cause the chaos in your body that it causes in overweight people. Ectomorphs, since they don't have a muscular upper body and they don't have a muscular lower body, these people are what you would consider skinny. Those aren't going to be their strengths. Since they have less active tissue to work with, their strength is going to be cardio. These people are typically runners. A mesomorph has more active tissue. That means there's more tissue that requires blood and oxygen. So as we're running with our big upper bodies, it's going to take 2, 3, maybe even 4 times the fuel it would take an ectomorph to run the same distance. So mesomorphs typically aren't going to be good at running. Ectomorphs will wake up out of bed after never training their entire lives and run faster for a long distance than a mesomorph. Now sprinting is a different story, but for long distance, they got you. So their power, if you will, is going to be cardio because there's not a lot of active tissue. This person's going to find it hard to gain weight. They're also going to find it hard to gain muscle. And if they are overweight, they're going to find it very easy to lose that weight. The last one we're going to talk about is endomorph. And if we talked about mesomorph being broad shoulders narrowing down to a tailored waist, endomorphs are going to be the exact opposite. So they're going to have this really wide waist that tailors up to narrow shoulders. So if we're picturing the body and the head is here and the legs are here and the arms are here, that's kind of what each one of these body types would look like. Like I said, they're the slowest metabolism of all 3 of the body types. So if we're going on speed here, it's fastest, second fastest, slowest metabolism of the bunch. They're going to have, in the developmental stage, more androgen receptors in their lower body. What this means is the same thing as it means for the mesomorph in the upper body. They're going to more than likely be able to build more muscle on the lower body just in the developmental stages because of the androgen receptors located in their lower extremities. These people are typically going to have bigger calves, bigger quads, bigger glutes, bigger hamstrings, bigger adductors, bigger abductors. These things are naturally going to be better. Typically, a endomorph can walk into a gym and squat and maybe deadlift more than an ectomorph could after 5 years of training, just walking in with never training in their lives. This doesn't mean that you feel bad that you can't do that. It just means that you know your body type. Same thing with a mesomorph. A mesomorph could probably walk into the gym without ever training their entire lives and bench press more than an ectomorph could bench press after training for 5 years consistently. This doesn't mean that an ectomorph would feel bad about not being able to do that. It just means that you know your body type. A mesomorph would never feel bad about losing to an ectomorph in a 5K. They're probably not interested in 5Ks, knowing that they can't run long distance. The problem with this is if you're overweight, it's very hard to judge what kind of body type you have, because if these 3 examples all stored fat the exact same way, it'd be very hard to tell what body type you have. Any one of these body types can be overweight. Yes, endomorphs are typically overweight. Mesomorphs are typically overweight, and ectomorphs are typically not overweight, but that doesn't mean that an ectomorph can't get overweight. All these people can have way too much fat to be considered healthy. What this means for your body type is that if you know where you are, if you get to the level of body fat where you can kind of see your frame, then you'll know what you're good at and what you might need to work on. This doesn't mean that a mesomorph can't get good in endurance. They absolutely can get better at endurance, but probably not as good as an ectomorph if they were training the same. This doesn't mean that an ectomorph can't get good at squats like an endomorph. They probably could, but they're probably never going to get to the level that an ectomorph would get to with the same training. So what I'm saying is, it's important to know what kind of body type you have, and it's important that you don't feel bad based upon what you can and can't do. There's room for improvement for sure, but you're going to have limitations at birth based upon your body type. These body types are specialists. This is a squatting specialist if we're going to name one movement. This is a cardio specialist if we're going to name one movement. And this person would be a bench press specialist if we were naming a movement, or perhaps a pull-up specialist. These people are going to be very good at those things. Again, it doesn't mean you should feel bad about that. It just means that you should know where you are as far as your body type is concerned and work on the things you need to work on. Anyway, that's it. This was a fast video. I appreciate you guys watching today. Stay tuned for more videos. Make sure you like this one. If you think it'll come in handy for somebody else, make sure you share it with them. And we'll see you guys next time.
1, 2, 3, now!